if Mamdani does, I mean, he's going to try to raise taxes, but if those taxes don't bring in the revenues necessary to pay for all his spending, you're going to have New York trying to borrow a lot more money.
Welcome to The Debrief, where we talk with the Washington Examiner's top journalists about the headlines they're covering and where the story's going next. I'm Sarah Bedford, and I'm here with commentary editor Conn Carroll. And Zohran Mamdani won the Democratic primary in New York City mayoral race this past week. Kind of a shocker for some people who weren't totally paying attention because Andrew Cuomo, former governor, was seen as a frontrunner. Why are Republicans all of a sudden rushing now to make Mamdani the new face of the Democratic Party?
Because he's literally an avowed socialist. So first of all, I think this was a little bit surprising when you go back and look at like February. The poll we were looking at had Mamdani in 9th place at 1% in the polls, with Cuomo up around 40%. So he closed a ton of ground in a short period of time. He did it with an energetic campaign. He raised, I think, $18 million,
wow.
Which is particularly impressive because New York has a very Byzantine kind of electoral campaign donation law. But he was able to close this ground through a lot of free media, engaged with media, did a lot of interviews. And also he's just not, like an older, compromised, scandal-ridden Democrat, which after Biden definitely hurt Cuomo. But yeah, so he ended up winning outright versus Andrew Cuomo and the other candidates in the race, and now he's going to face probably Eric Adams in November.
So one of the things that Mamdani was known for and started going viral for on social media was promising free rent. It's not letting the rents go up anymore.
Well, free rent, free buses, and abolishing health insurance, and also not free groceries, but government-run grocery stores. So yes, affordability was his big thing, and I don't even know if his supporters really believe he can deliver all these things, but we'll find out.
Well, let's just to isolate one of those to stay with the free rent. That sounds great to those of us who are renters. Like, I don't want my rent to go up, but that's been tried before.
It's not a new idea.
And it's not great for housing affordability in the long run, is it?
No, not at all. Because when you have rent control, when you set a limit on what renters can charge or private renters can charge, they invest less in the facilities. They don't keep them up. They definitely don't build new ones. So over a longer period of time, you just get less and less housing where you have the same number of people or more people trying to squeeze it in. It only drives it up, the price up long term. Now, he's also going to try to spend. The government is going to try to create 200,000 new units on their own. But this is, again, not a new idea. Another mayor in Chicago, who is not a member of Democratic Socialists of America like Mamdani is. He's a literal member of the Socialist Party. Brandon Johnson was endorsed by the Democratic Socialists of America. So he's not a member of the party himself, but
he's adjacent, socialist adjacent.
Right.
Yeah.
He also built a lot of public housing, but at a cost of $1 million a unit.
Wild.
Wow, that's just the cost to put it in there. And of course, if a government just can't sustain that, you can't build affordable housing at a cost of $1 million per unit. So again, a lot of these ideas aren't new. They've been tried before, and they've failed everywhere they've been tried. I guess we'll see again. Maybe this time it'll be different.
This is the time. Finally, socialism will succeed.
It'll be different for New York City.
How, with a city that already, like most big cities, struggles with its budget, how is Mamdani going to pay for all of this?
Well, the plan is to raise a bunch of taxes on millionaires and billionaires, which again is something that Brandon Johnson also tried. And he was a lot of times stymied by his city council, which then rejected the taxes. We'll see if the New York City Council's more liberal than the Chicago one. But Johnson raised taxes then on businesses, which have driven more businesses out of Chicago, and he ended up having to borrow a lot of the money from bond markets on just ridiculous rates. So if Mamdani does, he's going to try to raise taxes, but if those taxes don't bring in the revenues necessary to pay for all his spending, you're going to have New York trying to borrow a lot more money.
And finally, we were just discussing this. Zohran Mamdani won the Democratic primary, and typically the primary is the general for the purposes of the New York City mayoral race because the city is so heavily Democratic. But there might be a wrinkle in this, in that the Democratic Party is reluctant to line up behind this guy. He could really make them look bad when they're trying to argue they're capable of governing. So Eric Adams, the current mayor, is running as an independent. is this a lock for Mamdani on being the mayor, or is Eric Adams, all of a sudden going to become a savior here?
I think Eric Adams has a puncher's chance. I think you could definitely see the city come back around him, but he's so scandal-ridden. He was indicted by the Justice Department before he got a pardon for Trump. Getting a pardon for Trump's not going to help you in a city as liberal as New York City.
Right.
So I think it's not a sure thing that Adams is going to lose, that Mamdani is going to win, but Eric Adams definitely faces an uphill climb. But kind of back to the Democratic Party here, I think we can't just localize this to New York City and Chicago, where you have these DSA and DSA adjacent candidates doing so well. AOC is a member of the Democratic Socialists of America, and she's become a national figure. Bernie Sanders, he isn't a member of the Democratic Socialists of America, but he has described himself as a democratic socialist. And this is a guy that took Hillary Clinton to the wire, right, in a nationwide primary campaign. So this is the appeal of socialism and the appeal of free rent and free groceries and free childcare is appealing way beyond New York City Democrats and is appealing to Democrats nationally, and that's going to be a problem for the party going forward.
Well, Conn, thank you so much for being here today.
Absolutely.
You can get more from Conn and the rest of the commentary team at washingtonexaminer.com.